Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on some sketches of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour outfits, aka an excuse for me to talk about my favourite singer and favourite songs. If you're a Taylor fan, grab a drink, a snack, or your sketchbook if you'd like to draw along with me, and let's get to work. If you follow me on Instagram or watch my shorts, you probably already know that I don't usually draw real people or celebrities. My main focus is primarily fan art or original characters to tell a story. The reason I'm drawing Taylor today is because I was lucky enough to go to the Eras Tour in London at the end of June, and I know that she's back in London at the moment. I don't know why I said that like a radio presenter. I took a lot of photos and videos while I was at the concert, and I felt really inspired to draw some of her costumes. I'll just be sharing 3 of my drawings today, but I would definitely love to draw more of her outfits at some point. It was honestly difficult narrowing it down for this video to just 3. I ended up going with all Midnight's era outfits, which is funny because it's not my favourite album. I love it, I think it's great, it's just not my all-time favourite. I referenced a couple of photos from Taylor's Instagram account, and I think the bottom right illustration was based on my own photo. I think her poses and expressions from the Midnight set just ended up being my favourites, I guess. I had so much fun with the glittery textures of her dress and bodysuit, and with the furry texture of her coat and the tinsel texture of her coat in the bottom right illustration, but you'll see that later on in the video. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, allow me to delve into my Taylor Swift journey. I was in high school when Love Story came out, and like a lot of people, I'm pretty sure that was the song that introduced me to Taylor Swift. I remember really liking the song because, well, I'm a sucker for a love story. It's literally in the title of the song. I was into drawing fan art and writing fanfics. Not much has changed. But it's the kind of song you could definitely connect to your favourite ships, so that was a huge draw for me as well. Anyone who remembers MSN Messenger? RIP. I remember one of my friends had the line, "We'll make it out of this mess, it's a love story, baby just say yes," as their status or tagline or something for like maybe a year or 2. I'm not judging them. I had lyrics from My Sanctuary and Simple and Clean from the Kingdom Hearts franchise for mine, so I would be a hypocrite. Anyway, back to Taylor. I also remember really loving You Belong With Me when that single came out. Again, it was a really great one to apply to characters. I would say for me as an artist and storyteller, that's one of my main reasons for loving Taylor Swift songs to this very day. She's such a fantastic storyteller. I can relate to a lot of her music on a personal level, but there are also so many of her songs that inspire me to draw or write or create new characters. No other musical artist has inspired me quite as much throughout my art journey. I would say I started to get way more invested in her music when I was at university. That was when I actively started searching for her songs and listening through her albums. It must have been around the time she released Red as well. I remember discovering some of my favourite songs from her earlier albums during this time. Tied Together With a Smile, which inspired this gender-bent Sora illustration. That is a topic for another day, but I do still really love this piece and that song. Enchanted, Superman, Come Back, Be Here, The Best Day, just to name a handful. I think during my last year of university, maybe the year before, was when 1989 dropped, and I remember jamming to Shake It Off in my friend's car in the summer as we drove to campus, and loving the shade Taylor was throwing at the media in Blank Space in referencing her long list of ex-lovers, and really playing up the crazy ex angle. Now that I'm really reviewing my Taylor journey, I'm realising that before I was actively calling myself a fan, she was always in the backdrop of my life for some really important moments. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's true. I remember singing along to I'd Lie when I was trying to work up the courage to ask out the guy I liked, and crying to White Horse when I found out he didn't like me back. It's kind of embarrassing, but also something I'm sure a lot of people experience. Then I graduated university, and my life went into freefall. I could make a whole video on that period of my life. It was probably the most depressed I've ever been. I won't get into it too much in this video, but I felt lost and like my life had no direction. I was struggling to get a job, trying to figure out how my life was going to look now that I was finally out of education, and I was terrified. During this whirlwind, I bought the 1989 CD. I had downloaded the odd song from Amazon Music from her previous albums, but this was the first physical Taylor album I purchased, and it saw me through one of the darkest times in my life. It doesn't necessarily seem like the kind of album on paper that would get you through a depressive episode, and of course it wasn't the only thing that helped me, but I remember Clean in particular resonating with me, particularly as I started to get better again. The line, "The water filled my lungs, I screamed so loud but no one heard a thing," in particular really struck a chord with me. It seemed to perfectly sum up how I'd felt during the hardest times, and "I won't give in now that I'm clean, I'm never going to risk it" also inspired me to keep going. Then songs like Welcome to New York, Style, and Shake It Off helped me to feel more optimistic and made me want to sing along and dance on the days when I felt a little better. I listened to that album all the time in the car when I was angry, on the bus on the way to work, while I was drawing and writing. It became my go-to. Then Reputation dropped. I think at this point I was comfortable calling myself a fan. I adored 1989 and I bought Rep pretty soon after it released, and it became the new soundtrack for my 20s. I loved the sass, the bite. It made me feel more confident standing up for myself when I listened to those songs. I felt that I could fight for myself if things felt unfair in my job. Look What You Made Me Do became my anthem after I was passed over for a promotion at work. Then I fell in love, and the same year, guess which album dropped? Of course, it was Lover. I don't know how Taylor's albums seem to come at the perfect time, but they did, and yet again that album became my life soundtrack during 2019 and kept me going during the beginning of the pandemic. And wouldn't you believe it? At the same time my relationship came to an end, the more somber Folklore dropped, and it became my breakup album. In case you're wondering, Folklore and Evermore, they are sister albums after all, became my favourites of Taylor's entire collection, and they remain my favourites even now. I'll share a few of the art pieces the songs from those albums inspired, and believe me, there are more I'd love to draw, I just haven't found the time yet. Like many, those albums gave me so much comfort through 2020, 2021, and even 2022, not to mention her re-released albums. Yes, I have bought every single one of those too. Can you see how quickly I went from being a casual fan to a Swiftie? I really want to talk about Midnights and the Tortured Poets department, but I just don't have the time in this video, so maybe if I do a part 2, I'll delve into those, but I love both of those albums too. You're on Your Own Kid and Who's Afraid of Little Old Me are just a couple of my favourites from those eras. So coming back to the Eras tour, it was incredible. I'm really not a concert person, I'm a total introvert, and I can usually be found drawing and watching YouTube, but I'm so glad and so grateful that I had the opportunity to go. It was such a special experience after all these years of listening to her, from her songs being a backdrop in my life to them helping me through depression, giving me confidence, seeing me through love and heartbreak, and so much more. I have got to mention though, one of the secret songs she played was Clean, and I cried, because it took me right back to the beginning of my journey as a fan. I danced, I sang, I laughed, I cried. I'm still finding glitter on me months later. I think I saw some glitter on my cat. I've made a collage of photos and prints and friendship bracelets from that night, and I'll look back on it fondly for a long time. To wrap this up, I don't know what this video was, I'm sorry. I didn't talk about the art at all, it just kind of became a therapy session where I gushed about how much Taylor's songs mean to me. Yeah, this video was weird but special. It's a nice way to round off my Eras tour trip, I think. Anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you're a Swiftie or even just a casual fan, what are your favourite Taylor Swift songs? Do you have a favourite album or era? If you've been to the Eras tour, are you still finding glitter? Please feel free to chat to me in the comments about any of these things. Hopefully I haven't scared you all off from watching any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye! Not me trying to remember how to record a video. It's been so long, it was June when I released the last one. I lost my place. Hang on, I can get it back. I took a lot of photos. Where did I get to? I took a lot... and I think the bottom right illustration... Conker. Sorry, Cat Assistant is adding sound effects. That's not helpful.